Question I wanted to ask you was, are you reintroducing HB 1300? When are you going to do it? And are you going to make changes?
So yes, it is out for co-sponsorship memo right now after the governor became the first governor in the entire nation as a Democrat to say, I'm okay with voter ID. We reauthorize it because that is a big deal for Pennsylvanians. 74% approval rating here in the Commonwealth, polls up as high as 80% among voters in the nation. So it is a very important issue voters want to see. We did make changes. So if you remember on the House floor, my colleague, Representative Jared Solomon, authored 9 amendments. We actually told Democrat leadership we agreed with 3 of them, and then they told Jared to pull all of his amendments. So keeping my word that we did agree to those 3 amendments, I'm including 3 of those provisions in this legislation. And another important change when Governor Wolf vetoed the $3.1 million to create the Bureau of Election Audits in the Auditor General's office, we're including that appropriation as well.
It's not going to make it again. So what happens now? Do you think the governor will come to the table this time around?
Listen, whether he does or does not come to the table, that's on him. He didn't come to it before, and now every election that we have problems, every 5 days before an election that counties can't start pre-canvassing mail-in ballots. Every time we don't have know the winners on election day, that is on one man, Governor Wolf, because all that is provided for in House Bill 1300. Even waiting in line, we put a standard that line shouldn't be longer than 30 minutes. So if you have to wait longer than 30 minutes, that's on Governor Wolf. So it's on him. We have another avenue. We have constitutional amendments we could put into place to go right around the governor and have a direct conversation between the General Assembly and the people of Pennsylvania. Ballot initiatives are passed by 80% of the time. And obviously, voter ID alone has a approval rating of 74%, signature verification 76%. So we know Pennsylvanians are interested in making sure we have stronger election integrity, but we also recognize they also care about accessibility. And that's why in House Bill 1300, we expand accessibility to elections and also modernize an old, outdated law.
Why doesn't voter ID, when you go to vote, disenfranchise voters and make the process more challenging, slower?
Right. So let's talk about our current policy. So currently we have voter identification requirement for first-time voters who are individuals who have newly registered or individuals who moved and are voting for the first time in a new polling place. We know they have to show ID. And what forms of ID do they have to show? Driver's license, any government ID. They can show a government payment or a bill. They can show a utility bill. They have to validate that their name and address is on the document that they show. To date, nobody has said this is disenfranchised me. So if you think about it, we've had this since 2016 at least. I think it started earlier in the Commonwealth. We have years of first-time voters having to do this. First-time voters who are a minority, first-time voters who are low income, have absolutely no problem abiding by the current ID requirements in the Commonwealth, which, by the way, none of those are free. None of those IDs that are required under there are free. So we know that for a fact. 2, we actually provide free IDs in House Bill 1300. We allow Department of State to create a new one. We send and require a new voter registration card that's durable mailed to every voter. So no matter what, we're going to give you a free one on top of providing 2 free ones. And at the end of the day, just like President Joe Biden does in Delaware, we're going to allow an affidavit process where, let's say you're in line and your driver's license, your wallet, your purse, or whatever is sitting in the car. Instead of having you go back through the line, fill out the affidavit, and you're good to go. And that's used in multiple states. So there is no provision in 1300 that you as a voter would be not denied the ability to vote, because we have plenty of options built into it, just to make sure. And all we want is that verification that says Seth Grove is Seth Grove.